Hi, in this video we will write unit tests for this user access class that gets a list of user IDs and returns user data. To be able to return multiple users without a loop, the SQL code uses MySQL's member of syntax, which gets a JSON list and checks if the left argument is part of that list. Let's start with the simplest use case of empty input. Test empty input. Before start, we need to import mock and call from unit test. Okay, first we need a MySQL object. We will make this a mock so that we can assert what's happening to this. And now we are ready to create our user's access class instance, passing in this MySQL mock. And once that is done, we can call the getUsers method with empty input and assert that the result is indeed an empty list. We can also assert that there were no calls to the MySQL object whatsoever to make sure that our code saves even that one single database call. And once this is ready, we can test our test, and it is green as we expected. We are ready to move on to a more complex case of no such user. The difference here is that we are actually going to pass in a user ID this time, 1, 2, 3, but we are still expecting empty results to be returned. Yet we actually want calls to the cursor this time. To be able to control our test flow better, let's create another mock cursor and make sure that MySQL cursor returns that mock. Now we are ready to make more assertions, and so here the call count should be 1, and we can start making our assertions. With the cursor, we are expecting an execute call and also a fetch all call. And also for this fetch all, we would like to prescribe that we do not return any members, that is, we return an empty list from fetch all. There's one more thing that we could potentially assert here, which is the parameters of the execute function. We do that with call args, and just copy the code, which is the actual call, with the same query, and replace this converter part with the actual string that we expect to be passed in, which is 1, 2, 3, the user IDs. Now we are ready to run this test case, and it is green. Fantastic. We are ready to move on to an even more complicated case in which there is actually a user to be returned. Test existing user. The difference here is that we are going to return user data, and we are expecting to get back that user data. And let's run our code, this test, and it works as we expected it to. The only test case left to be checked is the case when we have multiple user IDs in the input. So let's write that test, multiple users. In this case, we are passing in multiple user IDs, and the fetch all returns multiple users. we are expecting to get back those users. And we are, of course, also expecting the user IDs to be passed into our query. Let's run this test case as well. And it works. We are ready to run the whole file. And as you can see, all the 4 tests are passing. That is it. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one.